hunger had started small, like the faintest whisper of need beneath Emily's skin. At first, she barely noticed it, just a flutter in her stomach when a stranger brushed against her on the subway, or a prickle of heat when she caught the scent of someone's cologne lingering in the air. But soon, the hunger grew teeth. It gnawed at her, relentless, until her thoughts were nothing but a loop of want, of the slick ache between her thighs, of the desperate fantasy of being filled, used, ruined. Anonymous encounters in dimly lit bars, the press of bodies in alleyways, the fleeting satisfaction of fingers or tongues pushing into her. But it wasn't enough. The hunger only grew, deeper, harder. She began to seek out darker corners of the city, places where the rules didn't apply, where men, and sometimes women, looked at her with the same ravenous gleam in their eyes that she felt burning in her own. One night, she followed a man with rough hands and a sharper smile into a warehouse stripped of everything but the scent of sweat and rust. He didn't ask questions when she dropped to her knees, didn't protest when she clawed at his belt, didn't stop her when she took him deep into her throat, gagging around the thickness of him. He only laughed, low and approving, before fisting his hands in her hair and fucking her face with a brutality that made her vision blur. She came untouched, her thighs slick with her own arousal. But it wasn't enough. The hunger sharpened. She started taking risks, letting strangers pin her in public restrooms, offering herself to groups of men who used her like a toy, pressing herself against the cold metal of dumpsters while faceless hands pried her open. The pain was part of it now, the sting of slaps, the bite of fingers bruising her hips, the stretch of cocks too big for her to take without sobbing. She loved it, needed it, craved it, like air. He didn't have a name, or at least not one he offered. He was just a shadow in the back of a club, all coiled muscle and predatory stillness. When his gaze locked onto her, she felt it like a brand. He didn't speak, only crooked a finger, and she went to him, already shaking. What followed was a blur of heat and hurt. His hands were everywhere, peeling her clothes away, pinching her nipples until she screamed, spreading her thighs wide before sinking his teeth into the soft flesh of her inner thigh. She came as soon as his tongue laved over her clit, her body seizing around the pleasure pain of it. He didn't stop. He flipped her onto her stomach, shoved her face into the sticky floor, and drove into her with a single, brutal thrust. She sobbed, her nails scraping against concrete. He fucked her like he hated her, like he wanted to ruin her, and she reveled in it, in the way her body burned and ached and begged for more. When he came, it was with a snarl, his hips slamming into her so hard she felt the impact in her teeth. He spilled inside her, hot and thick, and she came again, her vision whiting out. But the hunger didn't fade. It roared. They met again, and again. Each time, he pushed her further, tying her up, marking her skin with bites and bruises, fucking her until she couldn't walk. She let him. She begged him to. She needed it like a drug, needed the way he made her body sing with pain and pleasure until she couldn't tell where one ended and the other began. And then, one night, he went too far. His hands around her throat weren't new. She'd gasped beneath his grip before, had felt the dizzying rush of oxygen deprivation heightening every touch. But this time, he didn't let go. The pressure tightened, and her vision darkened at the edges, her pulse hammering in her ears. She tried to struggle, but her limbs were heavy. His thrusts grew erratic, his grip unrelenting. The last thing she felt was the hot spill of his release flooding her. The last thing she saw was the feral gleam in his eyes as he watched the life leave hers. The hunger finally was gone. The hunger had consumed her entirely, body and soul, until nothing remained but the hollow satisfaction of its final, violent feast. Her limbs sprawled limp beneath him, skin still flushed with the fading heat of their last brutal coupling. His breath was ragged against her throat as he finally released his grip, her pulse stuttering to stillness beneath his fingertips. He pulled out slowly, the slick sound obscene in the sudden silence. He stood, towering over her ruined body. There was no remorse in his gaze, only the cold, clinical detachment of a predator who had taken what it needed. He wiped himself clean with the edge of her discarded blouse before turning away, leaving her there like discarded trash. Her lips parted in a silent scream, her eyes glassy and unseeing. The hunger, at last, was silent, and the city swallowed another lost girl whole.